They are right, you know. Lost Wing can be rebuilt.
Clive, just the man I was hoping to see.
Oh? And why is that?
You remember how some of Sir Wade's guardians took up residence here after the Akashic attacked? Well, now the rest have come to join him. Seems their barracks in the Lazarus have been lost to an ether flood. Now, I don't mind having a few more brave boys around to keep them animals at bay. I ain't daft after all. But we ain't got nowhere for 'em to bed down. Poor buggers are having to make do with haylofts and chocobo pens. I'd build 'em a new barracks here if I could. But where would I put 'em? There just isn't enough room up here on the rock. Which leaves us in a bit of a pickle. The people we're counting on to keep us safe are living like beggars.
I see.
And it isn't just that lot. There's bears to think about too. There's been more and more of them turning up lately, coming from all over looking for safe haven. But there's only so many we can shelter with the room we've got. We can't keep cramming more and more people into less and less space. What we need is a new home for our new arrivals. And that's what I was hoping you might help me with. If it ain't too much of a burden, of course.
It's no burden.
Thank you, Clive.
So, where were you thinking of making this new home?
Well, I reckon we could do a lot worse than Eastpool.
Eastpool. It's been a long time since I thought about that place.
It was a tragedy, what happened, and if any of us could have done anything to stop it, we would have. But what's done is done. And those who lived there wouldn't have wanted the village they loved to be left in ruins.
I suppose you're right.
The blight might be pressing in, but I reckon it's got a good few years left in it yet. There's just one problem. A band of cutthroats have made it their den, and they don't seem like they'll be moving on in a hurry. Nasty bastards they are too. I've lost some good men to their raids. Would have sent someone to clear them out sooner if my boys didn't already have their hands full fending off the Akashic. But now we've got a few more guardians of the flame to call on. I reckon it's time we made our move. What do you say? Fancy leading a raiding party?
I do. Eastpool was once home to people I loved. I won't have bandits sully those memories. I'll gladly drive them out of there.
And I know the men will gladly follow you. I've already shared a few thoughts with Sir Wade about how we might be able to win the place back. And I dare say he's got some ideas of his own too. Why don't you go and talk to him?
Of course. We return to Eastpool then? Not just yet. Let's hear Wade's plan first.
I'm all for making this town a welcoming place, but...
If you're wondering how this place got so busy, blame the ether. Guardians.
So Wade, it's good to see you well.
And you, Lord Rossfield. And you.
I spoke with Martha. She tells me you have plans to free Eastpool and make it your own.
That's right. Though it was mostly her right. I rather fear my men have been treading on her toes somewhat since joining us. Not to mention each other's. And then there are the bearers. Men and women who found the courage to flee their masters and sought refuge here. We need somewhere to settle them. And I can think of worse places than Eastpool.
As can I. Which is why I agreed to help you win it back.
That's very kind of you. I'd be most grateful if you would. With you beside us, we shall soon send that rabble of rogues running for the hills.
So, what can you tell me?
That thankfully there aren't too many of them. Fewer than a dozen at our last count. And rather less, thankfully. The road that leads there will more than likely still be crawling with Akashic. A small force would suffice to clear the village. But if the Akashic were to follow them in, that force could end up trapped between a rock and a very hard place indeed.
You and the Guardians can stay outside the village and fend off any Akashic you come to. Make sure I'm not taken unawares.
I can't ask you to bear all that risk yourself, my lord.
The Akashic are the bigger risk. I can handle a few bandits.
Well, if you're sure, I shall summon my men at once.
Shall I wait for you here?
No need, my lord. You go on ahead. We'll be with you before long.
All right. I'll meet you at Eastpool then.
We shall see you there. And may victory await our
Who the hell are you? Kill them!
You will leave this place, or face the consequences. Nice try. That's the end of that, then. Or maybe not. What's that thing doing here? Doesn't matter. It goes too. Any more surprises? I'll take that as a no.
Bravo. A magnificent display, my lord.
You were watching? I thought you were keeping an eye out for Akashic.
We were. Put down more than a few on the road, then arrived just in time to see you slay that... whatever it was.
Let's hope it was the last of its kind. Though I expect you and the Guardians will be up to the challenge should another appear.
I would hope so, my lord.
Your men will be bringing the bearers who'll be living here, I assume. It might be best to send word for them to come right away. Before any other unsavory characters move in.
Of course. I'll send orders for them to depart immediately. Leave it with me, my lord.
Home. Without masters.
No. We're the masters now. Our lives are our own at last.
That's all of them, and not a single Akashic in sight. Now to begin the important work of rebuilding the place. It won't be easy, especially not after 5 years of beasts and blackguards having their wicked way with the place. The masonry might still be sturdy enough, but half the beams are rotted. Those that weren't lost in the fire or burned by the bandits, that is. It'll take a bit of elbow grease, but we'll see Eastpool rise again. Just you wait.
So wait. Lady Hannah is buried here. If you don't mind, I'd like Oscar to join the rebuilding efforts. He should be a part of this.
Of course. I couldn't agree more.
I'll let Martha know that everyone arrived safely. If you need anything more, you have only to send a Stolas.
And we will, my lord. Safe travels.
And so the healing of Eastpool begins.
Let's go and tell Martha the good news.
Ah, there you are. Sir Wade told me you got rid of the bandits while his lot kept an eye out. Nicely done. And what's all this about some shape-shifting nightmare showing up? On second thoughts, don't tell me. It'll only give me nightmares of my own. What matters is you did it, and now we can build our new village.
I suppose it will be. What will you call it?
What else? Eastpool. Sir Wade said it best. There's plenty bad happened to that place, but that don't undo the good that happened there. No need to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Did Wade say that?
Well, something along those lines. Anyway, the poor souls might have made it to Eastpool, but their work ain't done yet. So the way I see it, neither is mine. If it's food or lumber or strong backs they need, the rest is ready to provide it.
Thank you, Martha.
No, thank you. You didn't have to help us.
I wanted to.
Ah, Clive, I was just about to send for you. I'd like you to take something to Sir Wade up in Eastpool. Seeds for planting. Thought it was about time they started growing their own food. I'll keep providing them with whatever they need in the meantime, of course. But if Eastpool's going to survive, it's got to be able to fend for itself. As have those poor bearers. They've lived their whole lives in servitude, but now they're their own masters. Small wonder they ain't got the foggiest how to provide for themselves. So it's up to us to teach them. And if you're wondering why you, well, the Wagoneers taking supplies up that way have been coming back with more and more reports of Akashic around the village of late. Sir Wade's putting a brave face on it, but I think even he's starting to worry. And if he's likely to share those concerns with anyone, it's you.
All right.
Thanks. Wouldn't ask if I didn't have to. There. That should be enough to keep him in Gazal Greens for a few years at least.
Gazal Greens.
Not the most mouth-watering crop, I'll admit. But they're hardy, they grow fast, and they fill a hole. Better that than something that'll wither away at first frost. And chocobos love 'em too, which is no small thing. When I say all of us need to pull together to get Eastpool back on its feet, I mean all of us. They ain't exactly succulent, but cook 'em right and they're just about bearable.
I'll take your word for it.
Anyway, Sir Wade'll know what to do with them. And if he don't, well, I'll go up there and show him myself.
I'm sure you will.
Lord Rossfield, what brings you to Eastpool?
A delivery from Martha.
These are Gizal green seeds. Martha's keen to cut the apron strings then, is she? I jest, of course. You see, I had thought we might be able to, but they'd long since gone to seed.
Martha was hoping he might be able to show the bearers how to plant and tend these, so that they'll be able to fend for themselves.
That's not a bad idea. These bearers had only recently escaped their bonds before we brought them here. They know little of freedom, of providing for themselves and their loved ones. Unless we teach them how to live like free men, I fear that all we have achieved in bringing them here is to exchange one master for another. Not that myself and the Guardians have been the best example to them. It's about time we all started to provide for ourselves, bearers and Guardians alike. Unfortunately, we've been a little too busy of late to focus on much besides bolstering our defenses. There have been alarming reports of...
The Horde is closing in. They're coming, so wait, all of them.
Damn it all, I thought we'd have more time. Gather the men in the square. Send to the rest for reinforcements.
Yes, Sir Wade.
The Horde?
A Kashik, a veritable legion of them. They've been seen prowling around the northern reaches for a while now. We don't have the numbers to hold back a swarm that size. I had hoped to build a perimeter wall so that myself and the Guardians might be able to defend the village, but...
Now you're out of time.
Precisely. If reinforcements from the rest arrive before they do, we may just scrape through, but I fear that's rather an enormous if.
What if you could call on reinforcements from Eastpool?
You mean the bearers? We brought them here so they might live, not die, fighting for their lives.
So wait. You said you lack men to defend the village. Are the bearers not men? Do they not wish to see Eastpool saved? Though they may not be trained soldiers like your Guardians, what help they are able to offer could still prove the difference between victory and defeat.
You're right, my lord. I will appeal to them. My friends, I humbly beg your aid. We Guardians are few and our enemies many. But I swear we can defeat them with you at our side.
You would send us to the slaughter, to serve as bait for those fiends so that you and your men might be spared. And to think we trusted you. Say what you will, a home is not worth dying for.
But it is worth fighting for. Sir Wade fights to give you lot a chance. Just like I do. Just like Sid does. We all wanted to give you a home where you could be free. And you got one, didn't you? This place, Eastpool. This is your village. Your home. And if you don't fight to protect what's yours, you'll lose it. You know I'm right. This world wants to take everything from you. Everything. Your homes, your freedom, your very lives. So then, are you going to stand by and let that happen to you? Are you going to accept fate like good little Bran did and die, having never stood up for yourselves? Or will you fight like free men and women?
What are you doing?
right. Give me a sword. I never dreamt I'd have a home of my own. And now that I have, I don't want to lose it. I will protect what's mine, or die trying.
We all will. Free men and women, fighting together. For Eastpool! For Eastpool! Thank you, Martha.
Don't mention it. Just promise me one thing. That you'll show them how freeborn fight.
Gladly.
Well, if it was numbers you were lacking, you certainly won't be now.
Thanks to you.
Me? Oh, I just love the sound of my own voice.
Lord Rossfield, my lady, we're ready.
So what's the plan of action?
We'll divide our forces into several small detachments, each made up of guardians, bearers, and guards from the rest. These will position themselves at strategic points around the village. Upon engaging with the Akashic, each detachment will keep the creatures occupied as best they can, steadily retreating all the while.
You're going to lure them into the village?
I am. We will have neither the time nor the resources to treat the wounded, so injuries must be avoided at all costs. Instead, we will focus purely on defense at first. By coordinating our withdrawal through the use of messengers drawn from among the bearers, we will aim to have the swarm converge at a point of our choosing. With luck, that point will be the village square. The perfect place for our most able warriors to surround them and fall upon them. And for you and I to finish them off.
A sound plan, but one that'll require a leader with a cool head and strong nerves to coordinate the retreat. I'd say you have both in abundance, Sir Wade, but you'll be needed. Please, leave the last of the fighting to me.
Ha! And let you have all the glory.
Sir Wade! They're here!
Then you know what you must do. We work together. Everyone playing their part. Each shielding the other that no man might fall. That Eastpool might live on. For Rosaria.
For Rosaria!
We've no time to argue, my lord. I'll do as you ask.
And I will do as you ask.
Suppose we'd better do our bit too then, eh?
Right you are, Martha.
The calm before the storm. And here it comes.
We cannot let Eastpool fall.
And we won't.
Nice try. Nice try.
Looks like that's the last of them.
Lord Rossfield! Change of plan!
What is it?
Owl from the rest. An Akashic curl's been sighted on Rhiannon's ride and is headed in their direction.
Well, the better half of her guard is here. So wait, how many Akashic remain in East Pool?
Hard to say. My men are still facing some resistance, but I think the worst is behind us. I could order a detachment or two to fall back and...
No. Let them finish the job. You stay here too, Sir Wade. Your men need you. I'll go after the curl. Join me only when East Pool is won.
If you're sure, may the Founder protect you.
Next one's mine. I might not know what Caution, brother.
There it is. With me, Joshua. All right. Back to East Pool.
Lord Rossfield, the curl, is it?
It's dead.
Thank the Founder for that. And for you, my lord. We were able to eradicate. I have guardians posted around the village to keep watch for further attacks, but all seems quiet. I hesitate to say it, but I think it might be over.
I think it might.
We saved Eastpool. Thank you, my friends. Thank you.
No, Sir Wade. It's us who should be thanking you. You brought us together. Showed us what it means to fight for what you hold dear.
We never had nothing to call our own before. We didn't know what it meant to protect it, but...
Forgive us, Sir Wade. You and your people saved us. And still we doubted you, but there's no doubt in my mind anymore. We're free men now. So we have to start acting like it. We have to fight to protect what's ours. To protect Eastpool.
And we shall. We all shall. This is our home. And if anyone or anything tries to take it away,
they'll have us to answer to.
Come on then. Let's get to work.
This village isn't gonna rebuild itself.
They're not slaves anymore.
no. Your father took pity on the bearer's plight, and I believe if he was still with us today, this is what he would have wanted.
I believe you might be right.
I shall remain here, my lord, and do what I can to help rebuild the village. After all, this is my home now too, and I could hardly call myself an Eastpoolian if I didn't pull my weight.
I think you'll find it's Eastpudlian, Sir Wade. But you should be proud all the same. I'll have to pull my weight too. Can't have the rest getting outclassed. Speaking of which, I ought to be getting back.
Can we continue to count on your support, Martha?
Of course. And I'd be counting on yours too. Us Rosarians have got to stick together, haven't we?
Indeed we have.
And Clive, come by the Golden Stables when you get the chance. I ain't paid you for delivering them seeds yet.
All right. I will.
Lord Rossfield, do you remember our very first mission together? Clearing the goblins from the Stillwind Marsh?
How could I...
There's one sight that I shall never forget. You, facing off against that giant Morble. Not a trace of fear on your face. Since that day, there have been more than a few times when I felt like giving up. When the odds seemed so stacked in the enemy's favor, I thought I may as well just lay down my sword and surrender. But every time, I would think back to the look in your eyes that day and remember what it means to be a shield. Know that whatever trials Eastpool may face, I shall never lose courage. Thanks to you.
So Wade, you have always been a true shield. I know that Eastpool, and indeed all of Rosaria, will be safe in your hands.
Thank you, my lord. I know the rest of the world will be safe in yours.
I'll do my best.
The hero returns. It's lucky you came by when you did, eh? Not only did my seeds get delivered, but you went and saved Eastpool and all.
I just did what I could.
And it's only right that you get rewarded for it. Take it before I change my mind.
Thank you, Martha.
So, Eastpool's finally back on its feet again. And a home to free bearers. Who'd have thought we'd see the day, eh?
Well, it was your idea.
I know that, but I never stopped to think what it would mean. Bearers in charge of themselves, thinking for themselves, working for themselves. Like your hideaway, but not even hidden away. Though I suppose the rest ain't much different nowadays. You know, bearers living free like that reminds me of when I first met Sid. Loath as I am to recall that particular day.
I take it you didn't always see eye to eye. What happened?
Well, if you really want to know, I started doing what I did. In fact, that's how I met him. Or at least how he came to meet me. He showed up at the stables one day, asking questions about who'd been buying up bearers. Founder knows what he thought I was doing with them. Running a hunt, poking around in their innards. Something awful, anyway. Me, I thought he was a new constable. Thought the game was up. But somehow we both managed to work out what each other was about. And before I knew it, the cheeky arse was rattling on at me about how I was doing it all wrong. After all my hard work. Pfft. Told me I was giving them relief, but not freedom. That my bearers were still dying as slaves. Got right under my skin, it did. Told him if he didn't like it, he could bugger off and report me to the garrison. And do you know what he did? He smiled. And then he laughed. And then I did the same. We made a pact that day, that whenever one of us was in need, the other would always be there for him.
And you were?
Well, we both wanted the same thing. To make life better for bearers. Just like your dad. Do you know I was born right around the time Elwyn became Archduke? Growing up, I saw how he tried to change things. He certainly didn't lack for ambition, that one.
Indeed. But the loftier one's ambitions, the harder they are to achieve. Which is why those of us who follow in their footsteps need to finish what people like Sid and my father started.
Suppose you're right, aye. And if we don't manage it, there's always them who come after us. Good thing we've got a few half-decent sorts waiting in the wings, eh? It's almost enough to give you a little bit of hope.
Just a little.
Anyway, enough nattering. Better get back to work. Let's see about making everyone some dinner, shall we? The least the folks who saved Eastpool deserve is a hot meal. And you and me ain't gonna save the world on an empty stomach neither.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Oh, that blasted book. Here, you put me in this situation, Clive. You can bloody well get me out of it. I need a hand with a recipe.
Are you sure it's me you're looking for? I'm not much of a cook.
I'm all the cook will be needing, thank you very much. What I want from you is a little of your time, all right? Oh, and perhaps your sword. You remember Ivan's stew, right? Well, despite the look of the thing, and that awful stench, people wolf it down. So I thought I'd try making one of these supposed masterpieces myself. Had a peek at the book and gave it a go, but, well...
It wasn't as straightforward as you'd hoped? Ivan had the same problem.
Yeah, but this is my blooming kitchen, and I will not be outdone. So if you don't want to be seen as playing favourites, I suggest you lend me a hand.
I've never been one to play favourites, Molly. And I would be only too happy to lend you a hand. So, what's on the menu this time?
A fried mortress of skyworm. That's one heck of a name, innit? Recipe seemed easy enough to an old hand like myself. Thought I'd followed it to a T. Only, turns out skyworm livers and drake's mint are not what I thought they were. At least I hope they're not, given the rancid mess they made.
Ivan said the recipes in the culinary pilgrimage date back centuries. Who's to say the ingredients even exist anymore?
Well, that's a question for a scholar, wouldn't you say? Perhaps you know of one? Kindly old fella who haunts the shelves, maybe?
Fine. I'll go and speak to Harpocrates. Perhaps he'll know something. And if he does, I'll see if I can find your ingredients for you.
You do that. Lest we forget, you've got a reputation to uphold.
Still alive, are you? Go on, then. You're rubbing me blind, you know. You'll not find a better price than that. You're rubbing me blind, you know. It'd better all be here. You'll not find a better price than that. It'd better all be here. Is that all? The stew's awfully thin these days.
What am I gonna do?
Is everything all right, Goots? You seem more discomposed than usual.
Oh, I don't know what that means, but I'm in a bit of a muddle. Oh, I think Nan might be in trouble, and she's...
It's all right. You can tell me.
There was a trader came by. One of our usuals, like. Said he'd heard some rotten rumours about her down Dallymill Way. Folk are saying she's been selling to bandits and cutthroats and that. I mean, she's fond of a chance to make a coin or two, aye, but she'd never do business with baddies. Especially not the kind who go hurting people who haven't done out. I wanted to ask her about it myself, but I'm scared she'll give us a tongue lashing. She'd never give your tongue a lashing, though, would she?
Don't worry. I'll speak to her.
Oh, thanks, Clive. You'll let me know what she says, won't you?
Of course. I'm sure it's all just a misunderstanding.
Lady Karen's calling a favor.
Sid, do you recall the flowers I had you bring back to the yard?
Vaguely. Is something wrong?
I'm afraid so. I was able to get most of the Morganbeards to take root, but they rarely flower. I fear the soil here does not agree with them. However, I believe I have a solution.
I can't wait to hear it.
I'm going to marry the Morganbeards with Morbles. I know, but hear me out. Morbles are possessed of a highly choleric temperament. The fire which drives them appears to be maintained by an abundance of nutrient-rich ether drawn from their environs. I believe that by grafting a Morble vine to a Morganbeard, the appendage's wealth of vigor-inducing nutrients might well stimulate the flower to bloom. The endeavor, I assure you, is scientifically sound. I simply need a vine to prove the theory.
And all you need is a single vine from an ordinary Morble.
That is correct. A single vine. As for the Morble, I fear ordinary may not suffice. But, as luck would have it, a most extraordinary specimen is rumored to haunt the swamps of Rosaria. Why, a notice concerning this very creature was only recently posted on the hunt board.
How timely.
Well, I shan't keep you any longer. I know you have much to do, as do I. Now, where did I put my watering can?
Have you tried Molly's lemon tarts?
Canva lost? It can't be true.
What do you reckon we should do? I say we should just...
Well. Here, Sid. Reckon you might be just the man to help me out of a bit of bother, if you've a mind to.
Let's hear it.
Well, it's about this alembic the chief's got me making. Lovely bit of kit it is. Bung in a solution you want splitting, and it will separate it out, just like that. Problem is, it won't always get rid of all the impurities. And with some of the stuff we need it for, that ain't good enough. Which is why I've been looking for something to filter the liquid we'll be cooking off. And that's where I was hoping you could help me out.
I imagine Ty could get some use out of this alembic too. Distilling medicines and the like. All right. Why not?
Proper job!
So what exactly do you need for this filter?
Nothing but bomb ash'll do, says the chief. Gave me a sample she'd obtained from the university stores. Couldn't believe my eyes. You pour the blackest blight water through it, and it comes out clear as a mountain stream. So, I did a bit of reading about where I might be able to get hold of some. And do you know what I found out? It's only the blimmin' bones of a bomb king. They leave them behind when they die, see?
I take it that's where I come in.
If you wouldn't mind. I saw a billet on the hunt board for one just the other day. Would have gone myself, but, well, fighting dirty great balls of flame ain't exactly my forte. You, on the other hand...
All right. I'll see what I can do.
Thank you kindly. And a good hunting, eh?
How was she?
can't kick this up. Glory to Griga. There you are. And not a moment too soon.
What's happened?
Taya's busy working herself into an early grave. Since the arrival of her latest patient, I've tried offering to see to him in her stead, but she won't hear of it. Clive, she hasn't left the infirmary in days. She's pushing herself too hard. And if she doesn't rest soon, will you talk to her? Order her to her chambers if that's what it takes. Because if she keeps this up, I fear the hideaway will be without its best physic.
I know better than to order Taya to do anything, but I'll speak to her.
Thank you. I pray you have better luck than I did.
Please, Your Grace, stay strong.
Well, Taya, Rodriguez worried about you. And if what he says is true, then so am I. We all admire your dedication, but you do need to rest.
I will, when it's time. Until then, I'm staying put. We owe him that much.
Who is he?
Someone from my past. Someone who doesn't deserve to die alone. It won't be much longer. The crystal's curse has almost finished its work. If I had the tears, I could ease his passing. But without them, we've nothing that will touch the agony of those last few hours.
How would tears help this man?
Not my tears. Tears of mercy. Alicia, it's the only thing strong enough.
You wouldn't, Taya. Surely. There must be something we can do for him.
Sometimes an easy death is the greatest kindness we can offer. You do well to remember that, Rodrigue.
We have all the ingredients we need for Alicia Balwam. It needs to be fresh, though, so we rarely have much to hand. I can make the draft if you can bring me what we're missing.
Just tell me what you need.
There is a species of venom-weeping spider that lives in the forests of Norvent, near Lorbert's Pass. Bring me one of their eyes. Preserve it as best you can, but avoid contact with the tears. I'll make sure the other ingredients are ready before you return.
Thank you, Clive. I won't forget this. If it was me lying there, I know he'd do me the same kindness.
I wasn't expecting you back so soon. Come to claim your just desserts? Here you are. You earned this. All done? covered in nicks and lumps.
Whatever business you have here, see to it quickly, brother. We are expected.
Lawsman Harpocrates, I've come to pick your brain if you don't mind. It's about the book you lent Ivan.
Ah, Valisthea, A Culinary Pilgrimage, a classic. One of my favorites, in fact. The young man did a wonderful job with the Chance's stew. I do hope we shall be able to sample more such marvels in due course.
That's actually why I'm here. I don't suppose you know where I might find skyworm livers and drake's mint.
Ah, so the fabled Sandbrequois delicacy is next on the menu. Delightful. The descriptions of fried mortress never fail to make my mouth water. Now, skyworm is a somewhat antiquated name for the wyvern, their ground livers being the paste from which the mortress is made.
Dragon livers. How very Sandbrequois.
One would have thought the disciples of Bahamut would have a touch more reverence for their icon's brethren, but apparently not. I believe the specific dragon the recipe demands is the blueback wyvern, said to be the very color of the sea beside which it resides.
So we know where to look for our liver. But what about the drake's mint?
Saint's bonnet in contemporary parlance, a herb which grows along the North Reach coast. I gather that one can locate the cheerful yellow flowers by their heady scent alone, so I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding them. I may add that people once believed game was best served with the flora that sustained it in life, in which regard fried mortress of skyworm is undoubtedly a typical dish of the time.
Meaning that if I find one, I find the other. To Northreach, then.
Best of luck, Clive. And do save me a bite once the dish is complete. Knowledge hoarded is knowledge lost. I have a few new notes that might interest you. There is a rather fascinating excerpt I've been meaning to show you. What subject shall we consider today? The door to the shelves shall ever be open.
Mid said I can ride the Enterprise next.
Lady Karen, how's business?
Not nearly as foul as the weather.
You're doing good trade, then? Both in and out of the hideaway?
Can't complain. Wait, what exactly are you getting at? Not once in 5 long years do you pay my affairs half a care, but here you are today, raking me over the coals like a bloody popoto?
Just asking. Out of interest. All right. I'm here because I was told that certain rumors have been circulating about you selling weapons to brigands.
Oh, are you? And who was it who knows me so well as to tell tales of my evil exploits?
I didn't exactly hear firsthand. All I know is that someone in Dalimil has been spreading word to that effect.
And what? You believe it? You think I'm profiting off the blood of innocents, do you? Look, I've done things I'm not proud of. Might be there were a time when I turned a blind eye to the wretchedness of the world so I could line my pocket. But that woman is no more. And you'd know that if you'd ever paid the slightest bit of notice.
You're right, Lady Karen. I apologize. It was wrong of me to doubt you.
Aye, it was. Now, I reckon you've got better things to do than pointing your do-gooding finger at a poor old woman.
Of course.
忘れたのか？何をしにここに来たのか。